Welcome to the Group Chat, a podcast hosted by Vic Kainth, Pav Toure and Sunny Singh. This podcast will talk about all the things that matter, right here and now. We'll discuss and debate what's happening in popular culture, music, dating, and the craziness of everyday life. You've officially been added to the Group Chat. Hello and welcome to the In the Group Chat podcast. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about the bhangra industry. We're going to be talking about the current state of the bhangra industry, how it's transformed, how it's changed. And I'm going to kick off with the first question, guys. Who's your favourite bhangra artist?
Ooh. At the moment?
Yeah, at the moment or of all time?
Give me right now and give me your all-time favourite bhangra artist.
Oh god,
all time is DCS for me. I think DCS is like the perfect mix.
They are pretty good. They are.
I know that's a band, but then obviously I'd say Shin from DCS.
Yeah, he's an incredible singer. We've played with him, Vic.
Yeah.
And
mad feeling.
He's got so much energy, and he's quite old.
His voice is still golden, man.
Yeah, I do agree.
Yeah.
He literally does sound like you're listening to him off a tape.
Yeah, exactly.
And that for me is like the benchmark of a good singer.
Yeah, if you can sound exactly how you sound, like on a recorded, track, and perform it live exactly or just as good, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I think that's brilliant.
Absolutely,
that's a winner.
Pav, who's yours?
Of all time, or just in general?
Go for all time.
For all time, I'd say Gurdas Maan.
I'm with you on that. I would say Gurdas Maan.
I think that's for many.
Yeah, when we saw him live in Wembley, was it?
Yes.
So we saw him live in Wembley, and he was phenomenal.
He was brilliant, wasn't he?
His vocal ability. I can't sing, so I can't even preach to know what it takes to have that level of vocal ability. Yeah. But it was so good.
And his voice is so raw. I think it's so natural to him as well. Just like when you hear him speak, you can still tell that his singing voice comes just from that. It's not like he's putting it on.
No, it's just like pure passion.
Yeah. There's some singers that really stress their voices and it sounds like they're screaming a bit. I can name a few, but I don't know if I should.
Name them.
Maybe one. I'd say Gurj Sidhu was a bit of a screamer.
Okay, that sounds so wrong.
Yeah, but it's true. Just like, I don't think I can enjoy his music when he's really belting.
When he was screaming, was it just you and him in the room? Or?
Yeah. No.
So Gurj Sidhu, okay.
Yeah, I'd say Gurj Sidhu.
So,
and that's what I feel like I just can't enjoy the music.
But for some of them, it's the genre that they sing. So like Master Salim is like that. But then he has a Qawwali style of singing, and so he needs to do that.
In Qawwali, they do that though, right? They really like belt their voices out a bit more.
Yeah. So, you might... Well, I know Gurj Sidhu isn't... he's not... a Qawwali singer, so it makes sense for him to shout. But like, singers like Master Salim also belt their voice, but it suits their genre.
See, I feel like with some Qawwali music, they still have this like husky rawness to their voices, so it's very natural to them again as well. So I like that. I think that's a whole different style of singing in its own. That's a whole different caliber of singers. I feel, and they're amazing at what they do. It's crazy.
Sonny, what about you?
Well, I'm with you on Gurdas Maan.
Okay.
Like, I think for me, he was just phenomenal. And it's funny because my dad used to look like Gurdas Maan quite a lot.
Yeah,
I remember my nephew looking at the television, and Gurdas Maan was on the television, and he was like, "Look, Chacha Ji's on TV."
Oh wow.
So the comparison was uncanny. Anyway, Gurdas Maan for me is phenomenal.
I'd say one of the best right now, and he's proven himself over the whole quarantine period, is Ami Verk.
Yeah.
He's been doing these live one-off like Instagram
of him
videos.
driving and singing.
Yeah, or
he's been in covers as well.
He's been doing covers of like older songs and stuff, that are very well known, and he's been smashing it.
Quick question: is it Ami Verk or Ami Verk?
It's Ami Verk.
It's Ami Verk.
Ami Verk. I swear, Tommy Sandu said that.
Ami Verk. Okay.
Yeah, Ami Verk. Yeah.
So we've got a lot to cover, and we've got some really interesting topics. I think with all three of us being door players, I think we have seen quite a lot of the artists that we've spoken about live.
Yeah.
In many cases,
met them,
we're going to be
performed with
speaking
them.
about live, and we've met them in person or we've performed with them.
Yeah.
You know, we're certainly not in sort of the bhangra industry circles on a sort of super mainstream level, but I feel like we have a presence, and I feel like we have a standing of how it sits. So I think, you know, and I think it would be an interesting conversation. I'm looking forward to it. So the UK bhangra industry, I think, has changed and transformed massively. Like, I'm a 90s baby, and if you look at the UK bhangra industry in sort of the early 2000s, you know, there were some huge people like RDB.
Yeah.
Big up RDB.
You know, who else? Like, I don't know when PBN came about, but PBN was one of the biggest things. And if you don't know, that's Punjabi by nature. I'm not sure if he goes by that name anymore.
He does,
Yes, he does.
He does, yeah.
So I remember around RDB days, there was Hunters. You had Tastia Nation as well.
It's hard to remember. So I've been thinking back, and it's hard to remember. You've got people like Alap, you've got Hida, but there's more sort of the early 90s and 80s.
Yeah, they're the 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
And they're not actually of my generation.
Yeah. But we still enjoyed their music when we were younger.
Like Tiger Star was a big one when I was growing up.
Absolutely. Agree.
Yeah, so people like Bindrakya and stuff like that were sort of the 90s.
Bindrakya, Kaka, you had DJ Vips, who also produced so many bangers
sort of 90s,
back
the 2000s.
B2 and Taji.
They were more 2000s, 2010s, I think.
Okay, yep.
I'm trying to think.
But you know what's nice? Growing through that period. Yeah, Aman
Hair was
2000s
was when he started.
Yeah.
The Punjabi MC's sort of always been there.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think I've definitely seen a change and seen bhangra music transform over the years. Like, even thinking about the video, so I remember you had Chunni Singh and Alap.
Yeah.
Their videos would always be of them performing live.
Yeah.
I remember Up and Us Thinking together, they would, you know, like their whole band would be wearing these reflective, like, funky sequin tops
with
and stuff
with
like
the perm
and
the moustache.
Perm,
the
bhangra outfits, you know, Hira always had those on. You know, these are like definitive like bhangra moments in like music videos.
They were iconic. They're the NWAs for hip hop. For our
actually, I guess you
Western
know what?
bhangra.
When you look at videos like Dol Jagiro, though, they never really had the actual singer in the video.
No,
they had people miming or acting out these videos.
And it looked like those videos were recorded on like
like your Nokia and
Sony
like
the quality was.
Isn't that very Bollywood-esque? Like in Bollywood, you never have the actual singer in the movie, do you? You have the actor.
But yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I guess. And then you look at the 2000s, and then what was iconic about those was, you remember those guys that you'd see them like lifting tires.
Oh my god!
Have you never seen them? They're like curling, like
the video shoot in the car park. With
Yeah. So that was sort of what was iconic. I just remember those guys. They used to like have tires and alloys, and they used to be like lifting them and bicep curling them. That was in the music video
because that was kind of like the look that everyone felt like you had to go for.
That's exactly it. They were the conventions of a bhangra music
back
video.
then. There was no sense of a I guess lack of sense of a storyline in a music video. Nowadays people want to tell a story. Or like a beginning and an end.
And I think there was a massive culture of people producing or recreating old traditional songs, adding a bit more of a Western beat, but then having some random rapper in the middle of nowhere in the song rapping to the song.
You know what? I think even when we were younger and listened to a lot of bhangra songs, we didn't realize that a lot of these songs were like a second version of a very old song that was already,
you're right.
Probably
That's
like
so
a generation before us.
Yeah, but
like, a lot of them were like Chamkilla and Ranjit Kaur songs.
Yeah. And that still happens now as well. So even some of the ones that you'll hear today, like some of them are just redone from old versions.
Yep.
But it's interesting because you think about bhangra when it was in the 80s, it was very much live bandish. You know, everything was like that. And then as technology grew and people started producing on computers, it then slowly changed. 2000s was a garage vibe.
Yeah, Miss Scandalous.
Yeah, Miss Scandalous.
Scandalous, yeah, big up, high, and all that. You
know.
Yeah.
It was a very much a garage vibe, and then it's moved on from there again.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. I feel like a lot has adapted and a lot has changed, but has it happened in a good way necessarily? Did we go through the golden era and then lose it?
I think the bhangra industry has had a lot of stick. We've had a lot of criticism for the way music has been produced and the level of quality control that's sort of gone on in the industry. And, you know, we're compared a lot to mainstream artists, but we've never had the exposure of a mainstream artist. For example, sure. Like when a mainstream artist will put on a concert, like it's fantastic. There is a high production value to that concert, right? Mm-hmm. But an artist will turn up at a club and just mime or play or sing over the song or their own CD, for example. Yeah. Had that been, if that was an Alicia Keys would be singing live 100%.
But I guess it also comes down to the amount of money that's involved in the two industries. Like the bhangra industry just doesn't have as much money involved.
Yeah, that's the thing. That there's not much investment into like that much level of promotion as much as white label music is.
Yeah, and that's going to go down to the following as well. Like if you think about it, how many people will listen to bhangra music versus how many people around the world listen to mainstream music? Like me and Sunny went to Cuba and they were still playing like mainstream music. They're not going to play bhangra in a Spanish country. Just maybe Mundial Tabashkir, he was the odd exception.
That is the only one that gets played, and like maybe every country, still.
Yeah. But apart from that, like a lot of it is just what people are going to hear. So the industry itself is just smaller.
Yeah.
And so
is it true that Punjabi MC didn't actually make a lot of money off that Mundial Tabashkir because he couldn't? He didn't have the rights to the Knight Rider soundtrack for a very, very long time. It took him years to get the rights to the soundtrack.
I don't think it was to do with the rights. I think it was more so that he didn't get the support from the UK. Like, I guess musicians and other like artists, just because he did that. He was the first one to kind of use the Knight Rider theme song as part of his song Mundial Tabashkir. And so I feel like the only way that the only moment that actually got recognized and actually became popular was when it was recognized by Jay-Z and performed by Jay-Z. Like he featured on that track afterwards. Yeah. He did his own version of it.
Yeah, which was a fucking good verse as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
It was good.
So do you think then that for bhangra to grow overall, a lot of our artists should now start working with mainstream artists a lot more?
I think so. I mean, you know what? It's nice to see where that kind of fusion and collaboration can go, and I think we have seen it a few times. It's just that it hasn't happened enough so that it becomes a norm.
So I think the most recent example of that is Still Bangles, Mist, and Sid the Musiala.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember being in my office in Hatton Garden, and we have the radio on in the office, and that was being played live, being played on like Radio 1 or something.
Yeah, it was on Capital as
like,
well.
I would never have expected that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you would react to Sid the Musiala, him singing, like, his verse, if you don't understand Punjabi or if you don't listen to it.
But it's the same way when like Drake made that song with what's his face, Mia. He had the Spanish verse in there.
Oh yeah.
I don't Bad Bunny or something.
Yeah, that's it. Bad Bunny. Yeah.
Like
we don't understand Spanish, but we still vibe to the song.
That's true.
You know how we have a kind of like thinking whether the Punjabi music industry is big enough.
Yeah.
I think it is. Like we're not saying it's not as big as I guess mainstream music, but when you go to a different country and you hear their music and they only listen to their music, it's kind of like to them, because that's what they've grown up listen to on a daily. To them, that's all they know.
Do you know what? That's a really valid point, because we went to Cuba, and a lot of the reggaeton music that we had listened to there, right? We love it here. And just onto your point about does bhangra need to have collaborations with mainstream artists, I disagree. I think when we play Dol at a wedding, how many weddings do we go to that are interracial, where he or she is marrying a white person or a Caucasian or a non-Indian.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
Being politically correct. A non-Indian, but the non-Indian side of the family are vibing to bhangra more than some of the Punjabis are. How many times have you seen that?
I've seen it a few times. I haven't seen it. It's not. Yeah.
But are you sure that's not just in the moment, though?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Like ask those people after the wedding, when you go back, would you still listen to it? Like, we came back from Cuba and we were still listening to that type of music because we vibed with it that much.
Yeah, but we've listened to that type of music because we were exposed to that type of music in London already. Like, if I don't like, I'm not a huge fan of Cavalli. Like, it's not I like. It's cool, it's entertaining, but it's not something I would listen to on my drive home from work.
Yeah.
But if I was exposed to it more and I had a bit of a
better understanding,
but also had some sort of engagement or relationship from afar, guaranteed, from the artist, I may be more inclined to adopt that, because people don't know. I said this phrase in the last episode. People don't know what they don't know.
Yeah,
right?
true.
You just don't know whether you're going to like something, and music is
one of those things that can open you up to so much more.
Yeah, and it's a language that's not regional bound.
Yeah. I remember on some of my drives, I was constantly listening to the same bhangra mixes, by different DJs, but they all had the same track just mixed in a different way.
Yeah.
So same track list and whatever, or like the odd, different one here and there, like throwbacks and all that. But it was the same things on my my drives and all that, and I was kind of like, I just want a bit of a different flavor. So I really got like into like Cuban Latin beats, just beats, not even like the music. Like, there's so many amazingly talented like trumpets and violinists that they use in these like music in like these songs and stuff, and it's beautiful. Like, the vibes that they give off is so different to what you would hear on like a normal Punjabi slow jam, which yes, we all love, but like Cuban Latin beats, I was on it with that.
Well, this is why they say music is an international language.
Yeah,
like everyone can listen to it. But
just going back to
the conversation, I just think about Latin music and how it's reached where it's reached.
Yeah,
Bhangra music just hasn't reached the same sort of area. Like, I think part of the reason is in the Bhangra industry, and whether it's produced in the UK, Canada, or India, I think their natural tendencies to go towards Bollywood. Like, Bollywood usually is where the money is for them, so they're going to naturally go that way.
But is that because majority of India understand Hindi and listen and watch Bollywood movies?
There have been...
Well, yeah, but then you could... Well, that's exactly it, yeah. And so that's why they're naturally going to go over there. And Bollywood does have a lot of money in it.
There have been Bhangra, I guess, artists that have done songs, were hired by Bollywood to do songs for them. Like RDB was one,
for example.
Yeah.
Diljit Dosanjh, arguably.
Diljit Dosanjh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know who else.
But and you guys knew I was going to bring this up as well. I do not like, and I think a lot of people are like. I know you guys will go against me on this maybe, but I don't agree with Bollywood remaking Bhangra classics.
Why?
But also, I will say, and I know that they don't just do it to Bhangra, they take things from all other types of music as well.
Why do you hate that?
It's just like, we know the real essence of where a song came from, right? The rhythm, the style of it, like who actually originally sang it. But then next man from Bollywood is reproducing the track and using the exact same lyrics, just having some other person sing it in a way that I don't feel like it gives the same feeling from it, how we experience that music. But then all these old songs are getting reproduced and remade, and I guess a lot, it's good for a lot of the Bollywood dance groups that we know as well, that use these tracks because it fits with them.
Yeah.
They can do Bhangra and Bollywood to that type of music, but it just doesn't appeal to me. And maybe that's just my opinion, but I feel like it's very cheap.
Yeah, but that's
where's the originality again?
I still think it just comes down to the people that originally own the rights to the song. They're doing it for money.
And there have been disputes about this because
they butchered...
Dr. Zeus got in a dispute with Sony Music or something, was it?
Yeah, I heard about
something about this. Someone who used what was Gangana? Was it Gangana? I think his old track Gangana, and they basically remade that. It was Rouge.
Okay, so
do
you remember this?
Ayushmann Khurrana on Dr. Zeus. So, sorry, I thought I had the answer here, but I don't.
Okay, so what actually happened there? I feel like there was a dispute over the fact that
Dr. Zeus slams Ayushmann Khurrana.
Yeah.
Don't slate me for my pronunciation.
No, that's okay.
For plagiarizing "Don't Be Shy."
That's the one. Don't Be Shy.
In some sort of Indian movie.
But I feel like a lot of the songs that are sort of Bollywoodified, they're done for the money. So, like for example, you look at the old they butchered what Bindra Kiya songs. Remember Yaad Bolda?
And there's a Diljit song. As
yeah,
well.
the Diljit song.
What was it?
Popleen, I think. You know his film from Sardarji 2. I mean, they dubbed the whole film in Hindi.
So
they dubbed the song in Hindi as well.
Yeah.
What's the difference between Bollywood taking a Bhangra song and making it slightly less Bhangra, more Bollywoodified, than a DJ adding a drum and bass remix to a Bhangra track or a dubstep remix?
The thing is, I don't think.
That's adding something. This is being reproduced into.
But it's to fit the target market. So
I guess, and I'll understand if I do get spoken up on this, because I like the music that I make. I'm still remaking old Bhangra or Punjabi Hindi music, but just in my like instrumental chill vibe.
Yeah.
Because I want a different vibe. So understandably, I can understand why Bollywood do it. However, it just doesn't like I can't vibe with it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't necessarily like the remixes.
I'll agree. Vic.
I think they're shit.
I don't necessarily like them too.
But there's nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with what they're doing.
I guess when it comes down to music industry, if it's got money involved, then anything goes.
Well, that's exactly it. Yeah. And a lot of Bhangra artists, if given the opportunity, they would take it to Bollywood because that's where the money is.
Do you feel like
Bhangra music went to Bollywood?
Yeah,
that's true. Do you feel like Bhangra artists have a platform to go mainstream? Because look at Jay Sean. Jay Sean ended up with Young Money and did that song Down and a couple of other songs.
Because he felt like Bhangra wasn't, I guess, the Punjabi.
To be fair,
but he got released from that, didn't he?
To be fair, he did leave Bhangra. He did leave sort of Asian music and go to the mainstream.
This also happened with Bambi Bains. She was doing like Punjabi music with PBN, but she felt like that
was an absolute banger, by the way.
It was.
And I have,
but there was a lot of background stuff that we don't know about. Well, maybe I know about, but reasons why she stopped doing that. Yeah. So, I know that she went on to do more. I guess she went into kind of like a girl band for a little while.
I don't know what she's done.
Brit-Asia.
I didn't know that.
No, sorry, not Brit-Asia. Oh my God. Britain's Got Talent. That's the one.
Did she?
Yeah. With two other girls. Yeah.
Oh,
I think Bambi, if you're listening, I think she's a talented singer.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's a very talented singer
as well.
because I don't have the technical layer to judge whether she's a talented singer. I think what she did, the song she made was with PBN. What's it called?
Which one?
Oh my God.
She's made quite a few, no?
It's such a sick tune as well. Not the Dig Bay.
Yeah, that's
it.
Yeah. That is an absolute cracker of a song.
It's a banger.
I have listened to her most recent stuff on Spotify.
Okay.
And in my opinion, it's not for me.
Okay.
It's probably not aimed at me, but I really don't like it. I do think she has the potential to go down, sort of find a talented producer and play and produce some absolutely fantastic music.
Yeah.
But I would love to see her as an artist.
For sure.
Putting it.
She has a lot of potential.
Like, I don't know what else she does. I'm not a massive follower of her life personally, but I'd love to see her teaming up with a proper producer, and actually making some really good music.
But the thing is that I think that's with a lot of singers and artists, no matter how long, like sometimes you haven't found the right producer, you haven't found the right flavour of your own voice yet.
No, but I'm going to go back to the Jay Sean one for a second, right? He signed up to, like Sonny said, Young Money, the record label, and come on, you can't say they're bad producers.
No.
Right. So I then asked the question, and I don't know, and I might get stick for this as well, but do you feel that he didn't make it? Well, you can't say he didn't make it, but he just wasn't a hit because he was brown.
So I think this was partially also why he changed his hairstyle, because the brown guys had the spiky hair and all that kind of look, which is when he did the whole thing with Juggy D.
Because whether you like to admit it or not, like people do make judgments on your skin color.
Of course, yeah.
And you think of a rapper, you normally think black guy.
Yeah.
Right. Eminem is the one that stands out.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of. Do you see what I'm trying to say? That do you feel like the public maybe just looked at him and went?
I don't think so.
No. I think the public is judgy, but also I think he smartened up and knew straight away that he, the kind of first bit where he was like rapping in Richie Rich's songs were kind of like not his place to be, or where he knew that he could excel further going into more white label.
Because
mainstream.
I think what other rappers are, I think is it Nav? He's an Asian rapper.
Nav.
I think. Nav. Is it Nav, Sonny? I can't remember.
Who the hell's Nav?
Yeah, who's Nav?
Apart from my brother.
No, Joe, let me Google it. I'm sure he's a rapper or a music producer or something. I mean, I don't personally listen to his stuff.
Pav, I don't actually agree. I don't agree that Jay Sean didn't make it because he was brown. I think Jay Sean's done exceptionally well.
Yeah, he's a Canadian rapper.
He has, yeah.
But arguably, Jay Sean looks Latino.
Do you think?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, he's dark. He's brown enough. We were in Cuba. How many people in Cuba looked Indian?
Brown
practically
no, but you can
everybody.
tell from people's features whether they're Indian or not. You can be blatantly. I don't know. I think maybe that did play a part in it. Like going into the mainstream industry, they've never seen a brown person like hit it big, and it probably played a role. That's my opinion on it. I don't know if people would agree. Vic, do you think it played a role, even if it was small? But do you think his skin color would have had a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a effect,
an impact on his ability to be successful within American hip hop and Young Money? Because Young Money was big. Young Money was like Drake, Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj.
That's my point. And how did
all of these people?
So it's like he had everything he needed. He had the producer, he had the backing he had everything.
Yeah.
So you'd say, the public didn't take to him.
It's difficult because there's a lot of brown actors that have made it big in Hollywood.
Who?
Waris Aliwalia. There's Hassan Minhaj as well. I guess TV shows and stuff like that. They're
not actors. They're more like TV personalities, aren't they?
But again, they're still not discriminated by their skin color in terms of like whether they can make it or not. I think some people can have the ability to break away from.
Sonny's just got that camera in your face.
Sonny's literally zooming into my foot right now.
I'm on Instagram Live.
Oh,
while you guys are talking.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's a tough one because I feel like there's just so many different types of people trying to achieve different things. What are they actually trying to achieve by where do they want to be in terms of their careers? I
don't know. I think it plays a role. I'm sure that would have had a impact even if it was small.
For sure. So talking about impact on the British bhangra industry has been quite like.
I can't take Sonny seriously. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Sonny's literally got a phone in my face.
You remind me of. You get those aunties that you go on
and they're like this, and they actually hold the whole phone like this. And they're like, wait, hold on, like.
Vic. Sorry, we'll have to edit this part out. But continue with your point.
I'm gonna jump into something quite deep.
Okay.
There's a lot of cultural racism in British bhangra. Do you agree?
Racism in
British bhangra. Yes.
Okay, so give us some context.
Yeah,
what do you mean?
I'm not.
So there's there's so many songs that contain mentions of castes and I guess separating people and making people believe that there's a stronger caste than others because it's mentioned in a song. And
okay, explicitly, are you saying every single song that mentions the word Jat in it?
Yeah.
Majority, yes.
Okay.
I mean, I think they all do. Like, I don't know a song where they've mentioned another caste apart from Jat.
I mean, when do you feel like that started happening?
Oh, that's been going on for like ages.
But there was a period in time when nothing like that was involved. It was more about, I guess, yes, drinking, but life as a whole, being happy, dancing.
I'm sure I could find a song from the 60s that still had the word Jat in it. I'm sure of it.
Well, being Jat has always been quite a proud thing, right? Like, because I'm not going to go into the depth of what being Jat in the caste system means, but it's supposed to be they're very proud. They're very proud people.
So why do you? So this is the thing. I feel like a song will be a banger if it's about Jats.
No, I'm not sure I agree with that.
There's a song that recently came out called Jat Hundeya. It's an absolute banger and it's so popular because it's probably called that in the name, and they say it numerous times in the actual song.
So okay,
if they used a different caste name, would it have the same ring?
I don't think so. No, it won't. Because Dips Bhamgra, a brilliant KS Bhamgra's son from Apna Sangeet.
Yeah.
Released a track called Puttar Khana there. Never got anywhere.
Did he?
Yes.
Really?
You see, you don't even know about it.
Yeah, valid point.
You did.
I mean, that just sounds weird to me as well.
Yes, see, it sounds weird, but why could he not do that? Just because what Jat fits with one syllable, I guess.
That's a good question. That's a really good point.
And there's people who are now talking about, I guess, what's considered a low caste, which I am, Jamar. I don't really care, to be honest, but some people are actually starting to talk about that in songs as well.
Oh.
So there has been a lot of people that I've spoken to that have brought up this issue before, because I remember talking to somebody who said who was in a party, I think it was like some sort of uni grad ball or something, where they were playing bhangra, and one of the guys said to her, come on, why don't you be a Jat and come and dance?
What?
She was a Jat, I don't know what she was. So let's dissect that a little bit. Like, first of all, if you're not Jat, does that mean you're not allowed to dance like any other caste? And secondly, what is it that how does a Jat dance differently to any other caste?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it doesn't actually make sense.
Yeah. Now, I think I just want to clear the air. I just want to say,
we don't have anything against.
We don't. I admire people who are proud of their culture and are proud to be where they're from, and are proud of the history, right? But I am inclined to agree that the Jat word being used so almost egotistically and almost superior to any other caste has a level of prejudice. Like, you have Black Lives Matter, but why not all castes matter? Yeah.
So,
first, actually, to that point, why do castes matter?
Yeah, exactly. Why does it matter? So I've been looking at a couple of articles, and there's some good points that were made by a guy called Ravi Kumar, and I'm gonna quote him on what he said. So this is based on a lot of the nightlife that happens in Britain, and at a lot of, I guess, Bhangra shows and scenes that the Bhangra scene is very, very filled with like fights and I guess a lot of negativity because of caste-based lyrics. And so there's examples of this because he personally experienced growing up whilst in West Midlands. You'd get a section of the audience who is extremely hyper when caste-based songs were played. It was almost like they were given a license to behave badly, jump the highest, or to drunkenly assert their supposedly superior caste status in the middle of the dance floor. And
I know
that leads to altercations. that has led to fights and
like
soul.
you're talking about when people get overly rowdy.
Yeah. Just because of the fact that a Jat song that just came on, or some sort of essence of drinking or something has been mentioned, and so I feel like it's the thing that we don't get to enjoy now is that people should at least be free to attend bhangra events without actually being subjected to any lyrics to glorify a system that has been responsible for centuries of hatred and discrimination in Punjab as a whole, or British Punjabis and British Indians and stuff like that. It has, and think how many youths are in these places, in these clubs, experiencing this firsthand, that they feel like they have to back up their caste or where they come from because of status.
You make
Opinions.
I mean that's a vantage point that I've never heard of before.
Yeah.
And it's exactly right. Like, first of all, you do have people that get really rowdy and push people on the dance floor. Like, man, we're trying to have some fun here too. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
This is true. I mean, like, there's this bit here that says many of the caste-based lyrics in bhangra songs center on portrayals of Jats as hyper-masculine tough guys, in keeping with the notion that they were born into a warrior caste. Sorry, you're farmers. What warrior caste?
Well, I think they're talking about. I think from a religious perspective, like obviously Sikhism.
Yeah, as a whole. See, Sikhism as a whole.
Yeah. Not just Jat people, because.
Yeah, exactly. This is the kind of point I'm making. I know I'm getting very serious about it, but I feel like it needs to be said, because next man can come out with a Jat song or some sort of song that, speaks of women or drinking, and it can get pushed. So I think. Sonny, do you have a quote by Killer K that we just looked at?
Yeah, I do.
And he made a good point, based on how British bhangra is now and how things have changed.
So the quote is, upcoming artists should work on the art of actually singing and creating music.
Yeah.
Rather than having followers and acting like you are popular music by buying followers.
Yeah, which I think happens a lot now these days.
So I think there's some valid points. I think, yes, for me, first of all, there are some contradictory comments to the point you just said.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, the whole Jat word, yes, it's prejudice to other castes, and it seems like a certain caste is more superior than the other, where in this modern day and age there is no fundamental basis for why that would be. Like, and it also means what you class as higher. Is it monetary value? Like, I know Dakans, Chamars and other castes that are earning way more money than Jats, and vice versa. I know Jats that have however you do, are more successful than the Khans and other. It's an individual thing, right? You can't say that a certain type of caste will be more superior than the other. That's just
it's interesting if someone says that and they live next door to you in a house the same size.
Well, exactly. Like that just
where's your measure of it?
Yeah, that just does not make sense.
Yeah.
But I do agree that there is a level of pride. And I think things do need to be taken in context. Like, there are songs about, being a Jat, and what does that mean? That means sort of, being the pride of the nation, and sort of because you are someone that leads the way. And farming is huge. What does Punjab mean? Punjab means
land of the 5 rivers.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
I mean, I read a statistic somewhere that 70% of Sikhs were farmers, so they are technically.
So dancing came from that as well. It all originated from movements of crop fields.
I don't think saying Jat in a song is completely wrong. It is generalized, and I think it is sometimes people do feed into that stereotype of what a Jat is. And I think we're probably going off a bit of a tangent on the bhangra music thing, but
yeah.
I think it's an important point because it does alienate some people.
It is a big factor within bhangra though.
Yeah,
music
it
as a
is.
whole.
I do agree.
So I don't think we're going too far off, but it's just that it is another whole other discussion that we can have, easily, because that is a big factor within, like, a big problem within Sikhism, I think, as well.
Well, yeah, caste is an issue in itself, and that needs to be. I mean, we need to discuss that completely separately. But I see both your points. I see your point as well, Vic. Like, we've gone to weddings and stuff, and yeah, like every other song you hear is they have Jat in it, and you think. But people have just accepted it.
I was in a live stream the other day, Maharaja's live stream where they were DJing, and someone was in the comments with me saying, "Play Jat songs."
Really?
Like constantly just commenting, saying, "Play Jat songs, play Jat songs," and I was like, "No, shut the hell up!" Like, they can play whatever they want, But it was just like this constant request that he can only enjoy himself if there was a Jat song on.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of point that I'm trying to get to. It's just that, and yes, on the fact that it causes a lot of issues within like clubs and stuff, that have or weddings, just because it kind of just separates people. Whereas music should bring people together. It should be like we enjoy the music, we don't discriminate.
So I'm going to ask you something. So if we look at where the bhangra industry is today, and where do you think it's going to go tomorrow? Like, how do you think it's going to progress? Do you think that people should maybe use the word Jat less in songs, or do you think that, so long as people understand, and the word Jat can be in songs and caste names can be in songs, but so long as people don't discriminate towards, it's okay. But overall, how do you see the bhangra industry moving forward from here? Because we mentioned the mainstream stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm just quite curious to know your thoughts on how we're going to move forward with this.
I think we were winning when the golden era was doing its thing. Like when people were telling stories about life and like experiences and stuff like that. Not anything that is so much more based, so like, I guess, how to say it, like, so how do you say it without, it's not going to make sense the way that I'm trying to say it.
What are you trying to say?
It's like, why talk about things that we already know? There's people again like Gurdas Mann who had lyrics about like, love and like realism in life, like things about life that we haven't experienced before. Telling stories through like lyrics.
Well, this is why I like Gurdas Mann so much. Because you remember that song that he made about Punjab, and he speaks about
where we come from.
No. It's no, it's the one. It was a couple of years ago now, but it was about sort of everything that's wrong with Punjab, the drug problems and how everything's becoming westernized and people forgetting the language and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Is that when they're flying through the air in the video?
Yeah. Where Gurdas Mann, he personifies time. Like and there's like a little kid, and the little kid is Bhagat Singh.
Yeah.
And it's about all the sacrifices that like all these freedom fighters have made, and we're literally just throwing it away now.
Who in the next generation is going to understand that if they don't hear that?
This is a good point. So do you think the bhangra industry and bhangra as a whole is going to start sort of losing its value because people are going to stop understanding it? Because our parents speak Punjabi, so to an extent we still understand. But what about when our kids have kids? Or when we have kids? Like, how much are they going to understand? Are they going to start moving away from it and become overly westernized?
I disagree.
I'm asking a question, and it's not a point.
What? Sorry.
Sonny's not paying attention.
Yeah, pay attention.
I'm keeping this in. I don't give a fuck.
I disagree.
Basically, Sonny thinks he'll disagree with everything to make it more controversial.
Yeah, he just wants to add a bit of spice to it.
I have an opinion.
Okay, go on. What is your opinion?
Sonny, beer ain't good for you, mate, at this time of it.
It's not beer.
It's not beer. It's a double shot of espresso.
I don't drink beer.
I didn't even know they had double shots of espresso in a can.
And provided by Vic Gant's mini fridge.
Ah, yes, the mini fridge that keeps on giving.
Yeah, it's only got 2 bottles
gift
of
that
wine
keeps on giving.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, mate. So
Starbucks double shot espresso, 100% Arabica. Coffee.
It's basically just coffee flavored dud.
Okay, Pav. Can you please repeat your question?
So my question,
or point,
yeah,
I will disagree to.
so the question I was asking was obviously about where the Bhangra industry is going to move forward.
Yeah.
And do you guys think that as the generations go on, will Bhangra slowly start to lose its value and slowly start to die out in the Western countries because, you know, people will understand it less. People won't be able to connect with it as much.
I will say now that like I connect more with live Bhangra music when there's live instruments. I think we're missing out on that now. That's like
that's because you play a live instrument yourself, so
yeah,
you appreciate
I guess so. But also, yeah, we can appreciate it as well. Like there's the Bhangra Legends band, and they are all from different walks of life, and they are talented musicians. They've all put on shows like Bhangra shows, like how they would be back in the day when, you know, you'd have a live singer on stage doing bolia or like, you know, playing their like recent album or something like that, you know. And that sort of, you know, when you look back at like videos of Bindrakia in like middle of like nowhere, fire in the middle, and they're just like, they've got a door player, Algoze player, and they're just vibing. It's sick feeling. I feel like we could, like, you know, like if in the future, I understand technology again is always advancing, and so, you know, there's always, you know, use of more softwares in producing and stuff like that, you know, and VR and all that kind of stuff. I did mention this in you know, our rock paper scissors episode, and that's where I feel like it could evolve, where mixing the live feeling of music with technology, though.
Yeah.
You know, there needs to be the perfect blend of that needs to be found.
But do you know what? Like, I look at was it The Weeknd that released an album a little while ago, and his album sounded quite retro.
Yeah.
So
I do agree.
Yeah. So you never know that.
Like Logic. A lot of these samples are quite retro and nostalgic, and basically what you're thinking is that modern day producers and perhaps producers in the future are going to sample traditional
and come back to that.
So I think that will always happen, and I think, just to put to your point, Pam, there are two sort of aspects. One of the aspects is to your point about language.
Yeah.
When I sit on Twitter, I feel like there's a massive generation that love Bhangra.
Oh, absolutely.
They're so into their Desi Bhangra, like a, you know, girls and boys, like the girls like a proper Punjabi.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I feel like the latter generation or the next generation in the future, I think, you know, they felt like they missed out, or they want. I feel like there's a sense of bringing that culture back, and I'm not worried yet about culture, you know, being dissolved, because I do think, like, I'm perhaps not as cultural as you, for example.
Yeah. But
there are definitely things that I love and I like. And my brother, for example, is very cultural. He loves it. Yeah. You know. So it like, I would 100% want to introduce culture into my family, my kids, that I perhaps wasn't on the ball on. So I don't think we need to worry about, I don't think we need to worry about it being dissolved right now. And to your second point, I think we need to accept the fact that times change.
Times do change, but...
And one second, let me finish.
Yeah, go for it.
Times change, but we kind of, you know, time doesn't stop for anybody, and things will evolve, whether you want it or not. And there are sort of the folk music and the traditions that I feel that having Gurdasman with an Algozi and a Sarangi, with a Tolki, that time is gone, because the demand from the public is different.
He still sells at concerts.
No, he does.
But look at the people.
I'm looking at, like, from a wedding perspective. Like, look at a wedding, for example. Back in the day, like, it would be a live band.
Oh yeah.
But nowadays, you don't want a live band doing a cover, because it just doesn't sound as good as what we're listening to in our headphones.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. Like, if I have a live band, I'm like, okay, let me give you an example. We saw Landers perform Murnier.
Yeah.
At the Bhangra Showdown.
Yeah.
I didn't like it because it didn't sound like the track. Maybe that's a problem with the Bhangra industry, because when you go and see a rock band live, they're so similar to the actual track. Like I've seen a lot of artists live. I've seen a lot of hip hop artists live, and I will 100% agree that hip hop is different from rock because hip hop uses digital technology to produce its music, where rock and roll, they use live recording. But if I've seen, I'm trying to think. I speak about this a lot. The Arctic Monkeys. When I listen to a track live, when I listen to a track on my phone and through my headphones, what I'm looking for is that same feeling, but in a crowd atmosphere. And with the mainstream industry, we get that. With the bhangra industry, we don't.
No, that's a very good point.
It's true.
So that's why I feel like the demand from, because people in the future are now so used to having high quality sounds and being exposed to all these different sort of all this different quality of music, they want that from their artists. Like, could you imagine? I'm trying to think who. Like Gurdas Mann was, I think he rivals mainstream music. I thought him live was as good as having, who's the biggest band right now? I don't know, having Alicia Keys. I thought he was that good because he's what's that song? I'm trying to think. Sorry, I've just gone black. There's a specific song that I was listening to.
By Gurdas Mann.
Yeah, by Gurdas Mann.
Such
It's when
Up and up and job about it.
He's listening with
oh no, keep going. What is it?
I don't know. What other songs?
No. Hang on. I can't remember what it was. One second. I'm going to tell you. Let me Google it.
There's another one.
Challa.
Sajjana ve Sajjana.
Sajjana first.
Sorry, I wasn't listening. So,
yeah, of course you weren't listening.
So, when I saw him live, his version of Sajjana ve Sajjana was
very different.
Was a lot better than him recorded.
Do you think?
I thought it was fantastic. I thought it blew me away. I've got a recording.
Okay.
And it was amazing.
You know what? I would say yes. Like, Sajjana ve Sajjana live was amazing. However, I saw this little snippet of when Diljit done his live show, and when he was singing Bodhi Raat, he went and done a little mini lyric of Sajjana ve Sajjana.
Yeah.
And it got a mad, huge pop from the crowd.
I thought that was brilliant as well.
Yeah, which was brilliant, right? It worked. But then, are people forgetting that Gurdas Mann originated this?
I think people just appreciate
that this is all Diljit.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
But I remember someone asked me the question: is every bhangra song gonna be amazing? Like every bhangra song that from the past, what if Diljit sang it? Would it be great again? Just because Diljit sang it?
No, I can tell you there are songs of Diljit that I don't like. And I can't name them because I don't give them any attention because I don't like them.
Well, that's a fair
so
point.
Speaking about Diljit, he is coming out with a new album though.
GOAT.
On the
greatest
on the 30th.
of all time.
Yeah. And we have seen the track listing, and there's going to be there's quite many amazing names on the track list.
I've got the track listing here. So
he's
just a couple of shout outs. Your favourite, G Sidhu.
Yep.
Karan Aujla.
Yeah.
I'm just going to read out the people that I know.
Go for it.
Raj Ranjot. Amrit Maan. Amrit Maan's on 2 songs.
That would be sick.
Amrit Maan. And yeah, those are the people that I recognise.
Right, so I've just gone through this list, right, Vic?
Yeah.
And I can see one song called Jatti.
Okay.
Which I'm sure you're going to be really happy about.
Interesting.
And
actually, I got Aklal Jatidi.
Yeah, oh, there's 2.
There's 2.
Also,
there's 2
Aklal
Jat
Jatidi.
songs.
Oh, there's a Core B's on here as well.
Okay, cool.
Oh, and there's one called Whiskey.
Oh, okay.
Which,
we've got the perfect building of a
bhangra album, right?
Of a bhangra album. We've got Daru. We've got Caste.
That's all you need.
No, you need Kuriya.
Do we have Kuriya?
Oh, you've got that. You've got Aklal Jatidi.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool.
That is Kuriya.
Is that it? Is that the
Oh,
three main?
Patola.
I think it's going to be quite a good album. I'm really like.
I'm looking forward to
sometimes
it.
like his albums with True School were absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. Back to Basics was one of the most definitive.
Yeah, that's the
albums.
one.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
and then he's released a couple of other songs, but Confidential, he had a couple of good tracks on there.
Yeah.
Like
High End.
High End, that's the one.
Yep.
And I can't think of another one.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the album.
So the thing is, there's a big difference between the Diljit style of music and nowadays we have the Sidhu Muswala fan base, which is not your typical bhangra. It's Punjabi music, but your kind of gangster style.
But this goes to my point that I brought up about where the industry is going forward. Because if you look at India itself, look how westernized they're becoming. Right? The folk.
Do you think that's because of
the folk stuff? Isn't just what it was, but they don't value. I mean, I can't say they don't value it, but it's just not as big as it was before. You think about Sidhu, you think about Karan Aujla, Dilpreet Dhillon. Think about the songs that these people are producing. It's all very much more westernized now, and that's why I asked the question before.
Where do we see it?
Where are we going to see it go?
Yeah.
I'm going to stop you right there. I think this deserves a part 2.
You think?
I think it does.
Oh yeah, we're already out.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you in part 2 of the Bhangra industry with the In the Group Chat podcast.